Listen. You smell something?
On to your butt.
The battle of wits has begun.
Take your
Life,
sticking paws off me,
finds a way.
damn dirty ape!
Hello there.
This is Sparta!
You're a wizard.
Yes, they deserve this. I hope they burn in hell!
Take a big step back and literally
Fuck your own face!
Do or do not. There is no try.
Beetlejuice.
You ever dance with the devil in the bed?
I'm your huckleberry.
Beetlejuice.
Thinking what I'm thinking, bro.
Hallelujah!
Aim for the bushes.
Holy shit!
That doesn't make sense.
Where's the
I
Tylenol?
believe the common denominator of the universe is not harmony, but chaos, hostility, and murder.
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
There we go.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
And Keith's not going to make it again.
Yeah, I just got that text.
Doing OT. Uh-huh. He had a party thing going on last night at his house.
I'll bet.
Holy shit, that's frozen.
And he didn't even invite us.
I called him last night at like, I don't know, 8 to tell him that the X-Men comics that we had coming, that we got Jim Lee and Chris Claremont to sign are getting graded finally after getting signed and on their way. And he said that he had a bunch of people over last night, so yeah, he's probably not doing OT, and he's probably hangovering it. Well, alrighty then. Welcome to Pop Culture Kick. I'm squeezing your head. I'm Nick Zilla, and that motherfucker right there is... Yep, that one.
Me? Is it my turn or Keith's turn? I'm Mark Becker, and welcome to Pop Culture Kick.
Way to reference an old Clint Eastwood joke about the empty chair. All right.
You want to kick it off this morning? What do you got?
Yeah. Have you started watching Sandman yet?
Not yet. It's on my list of things. We still have to finish up Death Note, which we are a few episodes away from finishing that up.
All right. You guys do like one episode a night type thing?
No, like sometimes like we'll do a couple episodes, like few episodes, whenever we can, but some nights we're not able to watch it when like Shelby's streaming, or if we just want to watch something else. Like we got caught up on Beavis and Butthead yesterday.
Oh man, I've only seen the first episode of the new season, so I'm excited, man. I've just been seeing those clips online of the smart Butthead or Beavis, and I'm like, yes,
Smart Beavis and smart Butthead.
So I'll probably watch those today. I'm excited to catch up on that. But yeah, dude. Sandman's legit. It's pretty damn close to the comic. It's
nice.
Yeah, it's badass. Jen's she fell asleep during episode 7 yesterday, so she's catching up on that.
Okay, nice.
It's good.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list.
Yeah,
things to watch like soon.
I'm hoping that if they haven't yet, I haven't seen anything, but I'm hoping that they greenlight another season of that, so that way we can get more. Because I think it was like 75 books or something in the original run, and then now they have Nightmare Country, so there's like a whole new series. So yeah, that's a big world, the Sandman world. I mean, it's DC. I mean, you've got Death, you've got, all these characters that we've seen in DC Comics and stuff too. So it's all integrated into all that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Yeah, I've been hearing good stuff about it.
Yeah, it's crazy how like that main actor is like looks like the for one like looks like the character from the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the scene, like the first episode, like he's what buck fucking naked, just like, and this dude's like scrawny, like looks like Christian Bale. Yeah, Christian Bale.
Yeah. In
In the Machinist. Yeah, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Right, because in the book he's just like this little like emo kid that's all like, you know, emaciated and shit.
Yeah.
So it is pretty cool, man. It's a good show. The characters are great. The world that they're building is really good, and I really want to see more of it. And it's Neil Gaiman. I mean, the dude makes crazy good stories.
Yeah.
If you like Coraline, you're a Neil Gaiman fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So what you got?
We're just watching the Death Note, the original anime. Really cool. Yeah, like when I do see how you when you were telling me about it uh the other day, like a couple weeks ago, when I told you we were watching that, how it can get talky.
That second half of this, while they're doing the whole investigation and chasing each other in that game,
Yeah.
the first half of it's all action and him getting all these criminals to kill themselves and all this shit.
Yeah.
But then the second part is it's this big cat and mouse game, and it's just entire episodes of them just dialogue.
Yeah, dialoguing and staring at each other.
Exactly. So
Elvis tried to figure out because he's like, I'm 97% sure that you're not Kira, but like is he Kira? And it's like, yeah, I mean, they try to do this dramatic stuff, but yeah, they are basically essentially just like sitting there and inner dialoguing.
Yeah. So when I rewatched the series, I just watched the first half and didn't watch that second half.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're powering through it.
Well, you've got to. I mean, if you're going to go
yeah.
through the series and do it justice, you have to go through the whole thing.
Yeah, we want to see how it ends, how it turns out, because we're up to the part now where L's already gone, and so there's a new L that's that's working on the investigation. So don't want to give any spoilers. I mean, even though it is, a pretty old anime, like what, mid-2000s or something.
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, don't want to give anything away, but it is, is interesting. It has a really cool concept. It's just on some parts of the execution, it can drag on a little bit.
Yeah,
pace-wise.
Exactly. I mean, Netflix made that live action movie and tried to just do the action parts, which I mean, it's okay. You got to watch it at least once if you're a fan of the content. But I'm looking forward to the new series that's coming out. So the guys that did Stranger Things are making it. So I'm excited for that. We'll see. They said it's going to be a long form, live action story.
Yeah.
As long as we get to see a demon eating apples, we're good.
Yeah.
What's his name? Riku?
Ryuk.
Ryuk.
Yeah.
There you go.
Close.
Almost there. I had the U in the wrong spot.
Yeah, exactly. Had him in the wrong spot. But
okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Netflix, the Resident Evil series. Did you hear that got canceled?
Yep, that was on my list. Like little over a month after it came out.
Yep.
Which I can see. I mean, again, I watched it. I watched the whole thing, beginning to end, and it had some issues. I felt like the story wasn't. They took too long to get through. Like, you find out that in the first episode that the main character is a survivor from the original outbreak. So this is after Raccoon City.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
they're in New Raccoon City, which is in like South Africa, and so you find out that the main girl, she's got a tattoo that symbolizes that she's one of the original survivors from that new Raccoon City outbreak, which we never get to see. They took the entire season leading up to the events of everything that was going on, but it took so long we never got to see it, and now we never will.
Okay.
You know, you find I'm just gonna tell you about it. I mean,
I'm probably not gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's honestly the flashback scenes were better than because the episode would have like current day and a flashback type stuff.
Yeah.
And the flashback parts I thought were cooler than the modern day like zombie fighting and stuff because it just none of it made sense. I mean, the flashback was cool because you had Wesker, which we talked about the actor, dude's awesome, you know, and then his two little girls, and one of them's like a vegan animal rights person, the other one's a rebel, and so they break into Umbrella, their dad's work, they steal his card, to let out the animals because they saw that they thought they were testing on animals there, and so what's happening is Umbrella's creating this drug called Joy. And it's a derivative of the T virus. If you take too much of it, you end up getting the T virus to activate. And by too much, it's like 100,000 pills or something like that. So it's a lot.
Yeah, take a lot. Yeah.
But they have one of the zombie dogs down in the basement that they're testing on, and so they go to free the dog. The dog gets out, bites the girl. The girl survives, doesn't turn into a zombie. She survives the T virus and is able to maintain with it. But she starts getting these like little triggers and tics. Like she gets angry and loses control and attacks people and shit. And you know she ends up biting.
So it's starting to affect her, even though she's technically like immune to it. Hasn't really gotten.
Yeah,
she's starting to get like small symptoms.
Yeah. She's getting it gets to a point where you think she's about to switch, and then she's just okay. You find out that Wesker is a clone. There's three or four of them. And then the main one, which comes walking into the office, no shit, I thought it was fucking Blade. He's wearing the leather jacket. He's got the cut. He's got the sunglasses, the boots. Yeah. He literally looks like Blade. And he's the real, like, Wesker. And you find out that their dad is a clone. And what he's been doing is every week he has to take blood samples from them. Because he's testing them to make sure they're clean. Because they say they've never gotten sick. They've never, you know, all this stuff. And that's because they're genetically altered. They were created. Okay. And he's injecting their blood into his system because he's a clone that's decaying. And he has to have that pump of whatever they were created by. He literally created them to keep him alive.
Yeah.
You know? So it, you know, in a lot of that doesn't even sound like a Resident Evil. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. You know, so I can see why it went wrong. I mean, it had some cool shit. Some real cool shit. There's a giant, you know, zombie alligator that's like the size of a cruise ship and shit, but it just, I could have done better. I mean, not to shit on other people's work, but what the fuck were they thinking? They had the property to make this, and that's what they made.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's Resident Evil. Look at the past. Like, even the Mila Jovovich movies, you know, never did anything critically. It was just liked by fans because they gave you the action, the cool sci-fi shit, lots of zombies and monsters. Like, yeah,
and the clones and all.
Yeah, they at least they had like 7 movies that all connected to each other.
Right. Even though, I mean, there were some in that series that weren't that good, and you were just like, you like feel obligated to watch it, but like you're kind of like just slogging through it.
Yeah, like to me, the first 2, I think the second one where they're in the desert in Las Vegas was really good. you know, and then you get into like I think 3 or 4 where you get Nemesis, and you know, and then you get it just gets more and more and more and more exaggerated as you go, but they're all fun. That was the thing.
Yeah,
they were
they
fun,
were all fun and entertaining. Yeah,
not award winning, nothing. It's just put your ass in the seat and watch this hot chick go kick zombie ass. Like, come on, it's fun. It's the same reason why Fast and Furious is so, you know, every movie makes $1 billion now. It's fun and family. Right? So I get it. I understand why Resident Evil failed, and you know, shame on Netflix. I mean, I know they were taking a leap at this, but you have the rights to a massive franchise. You made a decent. They have a CG show out too. They made an entire first season of that. And it's all CG. That dropped like a year ago.
Yeah,
and that was good. But then they come out with this, and you know, it had a lot of those checkbox things that we talk about. I don't know. I can see why. I understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's from on here. It says that Rotten Tomatoes audience score is like 27%. So
yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Normally fans will be higher than the actual.
Yeah.
There's actually
because it shows. It says critic score is 55%, and then the audience is 27%. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
There was something. What was it? I forgot to write it down in my notes. There was something that came out that had like the critic score was like a 20 and the fan score was like a 70.
That's I mean, that's a lot of action movies, and that's like a lot of good action movies.
Yeah, it was something recent. I don't remember what it was. I was gonna write it down and I got distracted, but it was something where like, okay, yeah, I can see that. I don't remember. I don't know if it was Sandman or if it was, I don't know. It was something recent, but I was just like, damn, you know, that's why you never believe critics. Why would you take someone else's?
Unless you look at like Top Gun Maverick, because like Top Gun Maverick is like 96% critics, 99% audience score.
Yeah, I mean
There's those rare movies like fucking Maverick that are like just insanely loved by everybody.
Yeah, and if you see the two scores are usually real close to each other, then it's probably a pretty good accurate. You know, I never use Rotten Tomato or anything to judge what I'm gonna watch anyway. You know, I don't give a shit if it's fresh or not, because some of my favorite things are not fresh. Like Starship Troopers, like that's a guilt. Like I love Starship Troopers, and that's like.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see the scores, like, you'll see the Rotten Tomatoes scores on some of your favorite movies are, like, way lower than you expected.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, that's a perfect segue. You know what's not getting a bad Rotten Tomatoes score right now? The Flash.
Nice.
So, apparently, it's testing higher at levels of The Dark Knight. That's how good it is.
Oh, shit.
Dude, like it's so good that Warner Brothers is really pushing Ezra and giving everything they can to help them because they want multiple movies. This is so good. Like,
yeah,
that's the rumor right now. You know, if you go on to like any of the media shit, you know, it frustrates me that the media, you go like on my phone, I swipe to the left there, and it gives me like all the current news of things that I look at, and it's be like Flash getting canceled, Flash getting canceled, Flash continues, Flash getting canceled, right? And it's all these things that people just create. They're all just creating all these puff pieces that they have no information on that. They're just creating an article to try to rile up the people to start. You know, they start talking about it, and they start talking about it. So they can say they were right at the beginning. And you know, that shit's annoying when you're a fan of these things because, I mean, it's what killed Jared Leto's Joker, right? I was a fan of Jared Leto's Joker. But those gatekeepers that we talk about all the time, they go in and they fuck that shit up. and
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're going to do that. They're pushing and pushing and pushing on this Flash thing, but the CEO is like, man, as much as critics and everybody, a lot big groups hated the Snyderverse stuff, they made money, and this Flash is scoring higher than any of the Snyderverse stuff. Any of it. I mean, if they're at Dark Knight levels, which is like the highest there is when it comes to like almost perfect Batman movies, besides for like a Mask of the Phantasm, like that's impressive if you're getting that high. And they're continuing to get that high through multiple testings. So, apparently it's so good that they're considering a multi-film run, and they're really pushing for Ezra to get better, get them demons out. The power of Christ compels you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully Ezra gets the help they need so that so they not only just be successful in, the Flash, but also whatever they want to do in life, you know what I mean?
Just
like having to battle that mental health issues and stuff like that.
Just be a
it's
better
a quality
person.
of life thing.
Yep. Be a better human and, live happy, live, you don't want to live with them demons, burning you up inside. And, me, that's selfish of me wanting just for the Flash, but, kid's a good actor. I mean, he was a model. He's an actor. He's in some of the biggest franchises. I mean, fuck, Warner Brothers with DC, he's in the Justice League DC universe. He's in Harry Potter. I mean, those are two of the biggest cash cows there are.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before we hop into the next one, did you see that Sony had the option to buy Marvel back in the day for like it was like $30 million or $300 million or something like that, something small?
No, I didn't. I mean, I know there was a lot of
That was
a lot of people that were
that was when they diced it up,
talking back and forth, with different big production companies and distributors. But I didn't know that there was like a specific number attached to like
I just read it.
Whatever offer they were given.
I read it as I was looking up some notes, and I forgot to write down what the number was, but Sony had the option to buy Marvel as a whole, and they ended up just buying the Spider-Man license instead. That was back when they pieced it all out. Universal took the Hulk, and all these others took different. So, it's just
I mean, I can look, I can see. I mean, Sony was smart by taking Spider-Man. I mean, that they really couldn't have. I think they were kind of smart with what they did because they weren't willing to take a risk on unproven heroes.
Too big for them, maybe.
Yeah, either that or, I mean, Spider-Man itself is, Spider-Man is Marvel's most popular and most successful superhero. You had all the cartoons. You had I mean, hell, even dude, Spider-Man was a syndicated comic strip in newspapers throughout the country.
Yep, Spider-Man and X-Men are really the two biggest. And even now X-Men's not, because they've changed it so much. It's not the X-Men that most people knew or know. So I mean. I think that maybe it was too much. They're like, holy shit, what are we gonna do with these like 8,000 characters? We'll just take this guy. Which is why Fox took X-Men. You had Universal took the Hulk. Right, everyone took their main characters, and then because also what Marvel was like almost gone.
Yeah, exactly. They were talking about having to declare bankruptcy and give it all up. So,
and then Iron Man came out.
Glad that didn't happen. Yeah, and then Iron Man came out, and holy shit. You know.
Yeah, I put that on the other day, man. It still holds up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that first Iron Man definitely. All of the first movies hold up pretty well still, even Captain America.
Yep. I like the first two Caps. Winter Soldier is really
Yeah,
good too.
Winter Soldier is one of my favorites. Winter Soldier is like Shelby's favorite Captain America movie too.
Yeah, the first one is good. I love that whole World War II, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But Winter Soldier is just like a great movie. You know, it's got espionage. It's got like just everything in there. Did you see that Regal, is it Regal? Regal Cinemas is filing for bankruptcy?
No, but that makes sense.
Yeah, AMC had a resurgence, and they've been really promoting and really pushing and doing all these events and really trying to, get people back out there. They're doing all this stuff with Friday night, I could have gone and seen Godzilla vs Kong for free because I'm a shareholder, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a shareholder, they send you like NFTs. Like I've gotten 2 or 3 NFTs from them now that are like minted, and then they just give them to you for being a shareholder. You just go in and claim them.
Yeah.
And then they gave 2 tickets to go see Godzilla vs Kong. They said, hey, we know this movie released during the pandemic. We dropped it on HBO when it wasn't in theaters. Now we're going to invite everyone to go watch this epic movie in theaters, right? And so it was cool, man. I really don't see Regal doing any of that stuff. But yeah, they haven't officially. They're expected to file, is what I was reading. That they're expected to file next month. It's been tough on movies for 2 years. Movie theaters. I mean, that's a long time to not have
I'm
money.
actually surprised that it's just Regal and it's not just all of the
Cinemark and all the other smaller ones.
Yeah, because COVID really did a number on that part of the film industry.
It relies on butts and seats,
exhibition.
and lots of butts and seats.
Lots of butts and seats and concessions too.
Yeah.
The concessions is really what keeps them operating.
Well, yeah, because what is it? The first 4 weeks or whatever in the theater doesn't even make money off tickets, and then it drops to like a 10%, then 40% or something, like increments until it's been in for 6 weeks, and then they make 100%. But by that time, the movie's already out of the theater.
Well, well, I mean, they also have to pay.
Yeah.
They have to pay to exhibit the films, so. Like, they're paying Fox, they're paying Disney, they're paying Universal and all these companies and Sony and everybody
to download the file,
to show these movies. So, yeah, they're not going to recoup that for a while through ticket sales. So, yeah, I mean, it's concessions is what keeps them operating.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've been, well, you went to see Top Gun, but
yeah.
I go to the movies and they're all seem to always be out of like concession items and like that whole shipping thing is affecting all of that.
Yeah, because they were talking about like a month ago they were talking about a possible popcorn shortage for cinemas.
Yeah, I mean it's when you go in, I mean they're out of like all of it. I mean, there's no nachos, no hot dogs, no pizza, no, cheese sticks, no French fries. I mean, none of the actual food items. All they literally have is popcorn, candy, and soda, which is what it used to be. But, think about it. They don't have those $6 hot dogs that cost them 10 cents or whatever. Like, that's a lot of profit they're losing because they can't get these items in.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Regal doesn't really surprise me because they don't have, they don't have locations everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have a Regal cinema down here in Corpus that I know of.
Yeah, Regal was the big one in San Antonio, but I think Cinemark's been coming in and they put up that Silverado and some of those other like big theaters that have like the bowling alleys and the what's that other, there's 2 of them right there at my mom's house. There's a like a main event style one that has it, and then there's a Cinemark one that also has. That's where Keith and I went to go see Ghostbusters, and they actually had Ernie Hudson there with the Ecto One and all this stuff, which was really cool. He was doing a private signing there.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's just AMC. I think is really outdoing all the advertising and all the events and stuff, and Regal needs to step up their game.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because we've got, let's see, down here we have AMC.
AMC's
Which
the
actually-
largest.
Yeah, well, the AMC theater actually down here is not that great either, but we've got AMC, Century 16, and Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah, Draft House is good. We don't have them over here. We've got a bunch of AMCs. We drive past other AMCs and Regal and Cinemarks to go to our favorite one, which is down on Veterans, because they have the big Dolby theater, which blows away IMAX, blows away all that. Like, if you haven't seen a movie in Dolby Cinema, like at AMC, holy shit, you ain't seen a movie. Because Regal has their RPX, which is okay.
Right.
But this Dolby Cinema, it's like a full laser projector with, it's just nothing but speakers all the way around you, and it sounds good, it looks good, it's badass. They're not running the old DLP projectors and stuff that most theaters are running still, and it's good.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I'm a snob when it comes to the movies, so. Let's see. You got anything? I got quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, one real quick, because I know that I don't think we talked about this on the last podcast. They may have happened after the last podcast that we recorded. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but the Top Gun Maverick has surpassed Avengers Infinity War.
Ooh, nice.
In theaters. So it moved up another spot in the all-time.
Heck yeah. I mean, did you see that the family of like the original creator of the story or whatever was trying to sue them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to sue for the story. I mean, when a movie this big makes that much money, people everywhere are gonna want a piece of that
people are
pie.
gonna come out and I think, didn't we talk about that last time?
I don't know if we talked about that lawsuit of the family, but yeah, they're Warner or not. It's not Warner Brothers. It's Paramount, I think, is Top Gun.
Yeah,
they're not too worried about the lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be either. If it wasn't like if those things weren't like publicly known, publicly released, if it wasn't like published or any kind of thing like that, then it's really hard for someone to say that, their idea was stolen if it was like something in a personal journal or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck has access to that? Who even knows that thing exists? It's kind of hard to prove that.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Also, we've got a little bit of news in the boys department.
Oh, I had something for the boys on here.
For season 4.
Does it involve Negan?
They just announced Jeffrey Dean Morgan will be joining the boys as a recurring guest star in season 4.
He already played a character like that, just a badass in Walking Dead.
Well, they haven't officially announced which character he's gonna play.
Yeah. I wonder who he's gonna play. But damn, that's awesome. He's so good.
Yeah, there's there's rumors online that he might possibly be playing like the boys' version of like Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Okay.
I forget one of my buddies told me the name of the character.
I'm not that far in the book yet. Well,
Yeah,
there's
something Knight. Or
yeah.
something?
So there, I take it back. There's a part in the book that I'm past where this what's his name? He's like a Batman, Iron Man type character where he's like, he's got this suit and he goes out and he fights crime and nobody knows who he is, and he's got his young ward who like goes out to these like
Tech Knight.
Yeah, Tech Knight. Yeah. Okay, so that will be interesting because and that whole
So there's rumors online that he may be playing Tech Knight.
And that whole like storyline is weird because it involves a lot of like anti-gay meetings or like where they're like not like a pride, but where they're people that are ashamed of being gay. They go to this and they talk about it, and so like that's where his Robin would go, right? If he was Batman, his Robin would go and help out, but then like this dude ended up dead.
Was it like an Alcoholics Anonymous, gay people? Or something?
Something like that. And so, it involves this whole like what was it? It was like the grandson of like a senator or something, and they wanted the boys to figure out what happened to him. And during this investigation, they found out all this stuff, and Butcher goes and outs the Tech Knight and beats the shit out of him and all this. It was the comic. It was crazy. That'll be cool to see if it's Tech Knight. That would be cool. Because he's like a Batman / Iron Man character.
Yeah.
Useless without his armor.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and who he plays. Obviously, you've got that big looming figure of his character from The Walking Dead, Negan. So, he would be a great fucking villain.
I know. We'll get some Negan in the boys.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, obviously, like, none of the soups in the boys are all squeaky clean. Like in the comic book versions of their characters and shit, Superman and stuff like that.
Maeve versus Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about the boys on the podcast before. Love that show. Love like the subversion of that ideal superhero character, this comic book trope that's gone throughout the years. And Marvel more than DC has explored kind of the darker side of superheroes and stuff like that. DC has for like certain characters like
for Batman. Yeah.
But Marvel did that on a scale way bigger than DC did, and earlier than DC too, because I mean they were dealing with those types of issues even back in the 60s.
Yeah.
With these heroes.
Well, you had the whole like, Iron Man and was it Green Arrow?
Iron Man with his alcoholism.
Yeah, and you had the not Green Arrow, that's DC. What's the Marvel one?
Okay.
Somebody else. I don't think it was Hawkeye. It was I can't remember who it was, but he would, he comes up and like the cover's like an iconic cover, and he's like, my ward is a junkie, and he's like sitting there with a heroin needle in his arm and shit.
Yeah.
Could have been Hawkeye. I don't think it was Hawkeye. But yeah, I mean, DC's gone through a lot of that stuff, DC has, but Marvel has addressed, and a lot of that is due to Stan Lee and and those guys because they wanted
they wanted relatable characters, right?
Yeah,
they wanted them, even if they're a mutant or even if they're a superhero, a metahuman or whatever they call it in Marvel. They want them to be relatable.
Yep.
So they want them to be base human, you know.
Yeah.
They have the same. I mean, that's why Spider-Man was so popular, right? Because it's especially popular with like kids in high school, you know, kids, because Peter Parker's going through some of the same shit that they're going through.
That's why Peter's
right
been in
now
high
in
school for 60 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it wants them to be
Yeah,
relatable.
he's the
One of
kid
them to
that's
be
bullied.
relatable.
He's the kid that, the the
Yeah.
nerd, the smart kid that gets picked on. And I saw this video the other day where there's this like TikTok going around where there's this lady saying, white people don't show up to Black Panther. The movie's not for you. Buy a ticket,
Right,
give
right.
it, right? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this guy goes on there, this black guy comes up and he's like commenting how you can duet them or whatever. And he's like, you do realize Black Panther is created by like a white Jew and like some other white guy, right? He's like,
Yeah.
they were created, to bring inclusion because people were saying,
Yeah.
hey, we don't have enough, black superheroes, right? So they made Luke Cage, they made,
Yep.
all these other characters, and they didn't throw them into stereotypes and stuff. They they
Right.
wanted to include
Make it
everybody
human.
to have their hero.
Yeah. Yeah. And they make them human. They make them relatable. Like
Yep.
it didn't matter what the color of the skin was. Like they still go
Yeah.
through the same type of shit. Yes, there are times where they threw in some storylines where they dealt with racism and stuff like that and civil rights and everything, and that's fine. I mean, Black Panther as a character, I mean, just the name Black Panther, that harkens to the civil rights era with the
Yeah.
Black Panther Party and all that stuff.
Well, and it's like
So
that X-Men episode or issue that we were talking about where Kitty Pryde, where the one guy calls her a mutie and she turns around and she
yeah,
drops the N-word, right? Like,
yeah,
they're not doing it out of hate. He's saying that, it's not just a one-sided word. Like, there's other
right,
words that are bad like that.
yeah,
So, I know that was,
yeah.
we got off on a tangent on that one.
Yeah, we got off on a little tangent there, but yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, always season 4.
We got to civil rights from Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Where's our 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, huh? Did you see Matt Reeves sign a multi-year first look deal with DC, Warner Brothers?
No, I didn't.
So he signed everyone was worried about Batman because Warner Brothers hadn't made any announcements for anything of the Batman yet. And that's because they've been working on this deal behind the scenes. And, obviously they're not going to be just broadcasting all their secret backdoor deals with these directors and stuff.
Yeah.
So Matt Reeves signed a multi-year, I don't remember if it said how long it was, but Warner Brothers gets first look at everything he wants to do.
Damn.
Any show,
Okay.
movie, anything that he comes up with an idea, he has to go to Warner Brothers first. And if they pass on it, then he can take it to another studio.
That's pretty, yeah. I mean, that's pretty rare for a director. You'll see that with
Yeah.
actors a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Tom Cruise that stays with, you got your,
Well, and that has a lot to do more with Tom Cruise's own production company is linked to Paramount.
yeah.
So
And you got Amblin, Steven
have
Spielberg.
that, yeah. You'll have like production companies and stuff like that that are linked to major studios.
But you got those
You know.
actors that will, stay with, like Leonardo DiCaprio is always with,
Oh yeah.
All those types
Well,
of things.
that was, I mean, and that's kind of a holdover from like back in the old cinema when actors
Would sign on
used
with.
to be, yeah, they signed on with the studio and they were just farmed out and essentially just told by the studio, what they needed to do. Now they have a lot more freedom when it comes to that because of United Artists
Yeah.
when Charlie Chaplin form United Artists to kind of help out, to get the actors from being victims of the studio system. So I mean, it's pretty rare to hear about a director though.
Yeah, and
Doing that.
I mean he's brought a lot of money to Warner Brothers, right? With the Planet of the Apes movies trilogy,
Yeah,
and this, and they're making
yeah.
another Apes a sequel.
And I mean, I'm sure that they put that Warner Brothers Discovery put down, quite a bit of money to get this exclusive signing with Matt Reeves. So it makes sense.
Well, and he talks about all of his ideas, right? He's got all these, he's got the Batman shows, the Batman movie. He's got that TV show coming about the Penguin. And he's got multiple other projects that he wants to do. So he just has to go to Warner first,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Well, I mean,
the guy's
there's
talented.
a lot like the Batman Caped Crusader TV series that he had been working on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I saw that. That's looking for
yeah.
a new home, right? Netflix, Hulu, something like that.
Right. HBO Max HBO Max basically canceled the Cape Crusader series, so it's possible that, Warner Brothers or Discovery, it may be on one of their other streaming platforms, but it's not going to be on HBO.
Yeah, I know HBO Max has been, as a brand, I think they're trying to get rid of as much as they can off of Max because they're going to merge, in a year or so, they're going to merge the HBO and Discovery.
Yeah.
And so they want to make that transition, I guess, easier in the future.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand because HBO Max is like one of the best apps out there when it comes to content and ease of use. And I don't know why they couldn't just fold the Discovery part into that one versus trying to fold HBO into Discovery, because I feel like HBO's got a bigger brand.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. I mean, they've got their degrees and their business sense and all that stuff, but to me as a fan, HBO has way more. I mean, even their app is better than the Discovery app.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and it was like, and the thing is like Discovery's trying to do this rebrand thing too, with this acquisition of Warner Brothers because Discovery was, it was more of a nature documentary.
Well, yeah,
type
they put up that chart, side by
show.
side chart, and they said
Yeah.
HBO is like 25 to 40-year-old males. Discovery was like, 25 to 40-year-old female.
Yeah.
And so they had this, like, it was a complete separation. What this one was complete opposite on this one. And so they're like, we need to merge that, so that everybody gets into it. But it, I don't see any announcements of anything being cut or changed on the Discovery side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and sometimes it's not possible to do that,
Yeah.
right? Like look at markets and stuff like that. That's why the major, production companies have, smaller subsidiaries and stuff like that do niche markets and niche audiences because, they may not necessarily be willing to, as the big head studio may not be willing to put their brand on, something that's gonna be niche. That's why they have like your Miramaxes and your New Line Cinemas,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, where they can take a little bit more risk with those, and also not necessarily, take the damage if that risk doesn't really work out.
Yeah.
And back to the market thing specifically, though, is like you when you're trying to do this where you're merging these multiple markets, that's where you get alienating like some of like, a big portion of your audience is there because they're trying to get this audience and this audience, this market and this market, to watch the same properties. And that's where you get missteps like the Star Wars trilogy,
Yeah.
Yeah, or you go the other way and you get this, hyper super successful, movie like the like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War and all that stuff. So it depends on how you do it, but it can be a mess. It can be very difficult to do that sort of thing, and they may not be
Yeah.
doing it the way because HBO does have a specific brand.
Yep.
HBO was, one of the first premium channels that they were like, yeah, this isn't TV, this is HBO.
Exactly.
We have the latest movies out.
And that's why, like, when you go to hotels and stuff, still today it says HBO included. Like, that is a
HBO
premium brand.
Cinemax included. Yeah, exactly. That's a selling point for some hotels still. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that they're going to go back to and get rid of the HBO Max and go back to the HBO brand. So they were going to have HBO originals go back to just HBO.
Yeah.
Speaking with these guys, or about them, there is apparently rumors underway. We won't know for probably about another year. But the CEO is still pushing to bring back the Snyderverse, and I think they've coming close to a deal with Henry Cavill to come back as Superman for Man of Steel 2 with Zack Snyder at the helm, like 10 years after the original one, first one.
Damn.
Yeah, I saw that last night that they said that it's they think they're close to a deal and getting this done. So I mean,
Nice.
if they're the Flash is doing that good and they want to continue the Snyderverse, with this Flash movie changing the way everything is, they can reform the Snyderverse into what they want it to be to maintain these versus this weird thing where they're gonna still have the same characters but not be actors but not be part of the universe that we've already seen for the last 10 years. Because that whole thing that they're trying to do is really weird. So it makes sense. I think it'll do much better if they do it that way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they need to stop trying to chase Marvel and do their own thing.
Honestly, I thought they were doing much better if they just follow the Joker and the Batman and just take these characters and make badass stories and don't try to connect them. Just fuck it, make one-time stories, man. Everything don't need a sequel. I understand it makes more money. The first movie made a ton of money, but go make you don't have to take this thing that makes a lot of money and this thing that makes a lot of money and be like, if we put them together, it's like chocolate and peanut butter. We can make even more money. No, it's just continue that on, make good stories. That's what you're
develop
about.
these characters, right?
Exactly.
And the thing is like you gotta stick with, which is smart. Well, like we were talking about earlier with Ezra Miller, like you gotta stick with some of these actors for a good while so that they can develop these characters and have it be, consistent for continuity's sake, right? Like what happens, like we were talking about on another podcast, previous podcast that we recorded about that is like, what if they cast a new Flash? Now you have this, this continuity issue.
I mean, it never really works out in movies and TV. I mean, there's a few instances where it does, but
it's pretty rare. But
when you recast and it does better, like look at the new Harry Potter, right? They took out Johnny Depp and put Mads Mikkelsen, which Mads Mikkelsen's fucking awesome. I love Mads. I love Mads. But everyone was like, "What the fuck? What happened to Johnny Depp's character?" Right? Because they had already set him up in the first two movies. And they did explain that he can change his appearance and his form, right? They explained that, but in like one sentence. If you're going to do that, you need to expand that.
Right, exactly. You gotta show that, right? You gotta show
Exactly.
him, changing his appearance.
But
You know,
I mean, fans, we know how fans are. You can't just go in and start recasting. It's going to cause issues later down the road. Or, in the case of that one, people are like, yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to get a handle on your people. You know what I mean? It's it's an issue. It's just like in the military, right? Like you got to get a handle on your people. Your people have to, you know, they got to keep their noses clean.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're a detriment to the unit. Not, they're no help if they're constantly in trouble. You know.
Speaking of noses clean. Exactly. Did you hear though that Warner Brothers Discovery did find and is in negotiations to sign on their version of Kevin Feige?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, bless you.
Yes. And thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dan Lin, which
Dan Lin, yeah.
has been part of some big franchises. Uh, you got a couple of them, or you want me to rip them off?
Go ahead and
So he handled the It franchise for, believe, also Warner Brothers. He handled the Lego movie franchise, which includes the Lego Batman, both Lego movies, all the major Lego movies that have come out, and Sherlock Holmes franchise. Those three movies and whatever spin-offs are coming. So he's been a part of this group, this company that handles major franchises, and they're in talks right now to come on and take care of the DC universe.
yeah.
So awesome. They need somebody. Or people kept saying, well, what about Zack Snyder? I'm like, no, Zack Snyder wants to go make art. He doesn't want to sit in boardroom meetings and set up this DC
He wants
stuff.
he wants to go direct movies, like
Yeah. Then they said, well, what about Jim Lee? Well, Jim Lee's in a DC supervisory role, but I think it's more over the comics, not the movies.
yeah.
So it'll be cool to see this guy and Jim Lee get together and, maybe start making these big universe, create, because Jim Lee's got all the knowledge of the DC stuff, right? So let's create this big year plan, right? They claim they have this 10-year plan. They just don't have the people to make that plan yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dan Lin would be a good would be a good showrunner, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
For
all of those franchises are successful.
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the Lego movies were awesome.
Oh, dude, everything is awesome.
But yeah, I mean he's got a bunch of executive producer credits for a lot of shit. I mean,
He knows the game, and he knows how to make things. How to make
he's
them
the executive producer on Godzilla versus Kong.
Yep.
Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yeah, so it didn't even. I saw that he was helped with that Godzilla franchise as well. The Legendary. So I mean this he knows what to do with brands and franchises. So let's give him the toys to DC. Sign him on exclusively. Let him
back. He's also one of the producers of the Death Note live action movie.
The Netflix one.
Yeah.
That may be why they didn't include that one in the list. But again, that's a popular IP. So he knows how to handle IP. So yeah, that's good. Let's hope they lock this guy in, because it's hard to find someone. If you don't get him, they need to start looking at like a Kevin Smith or somebody that's that's
a
knows.
comic book fan, a big comic book nerd. Yeah.
And that's what I've always said. Like, Marvel has comic book fans making the movies.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson are big Batman fans, right? So
Yeah.
you see how their Batman was more accurate of a Batman than I think even the Christian Bale movies, right? That was a more straight up detective comics Batman is what that was.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder is a comic book fan, and storyteller. So you have to have comic book fans making these movies.
Yeah.
You can't let boardrooms and execs, because when you get to that, that's where you get the Justice League cut, the Whedon cut, right? You get the Suicides, Warner Brothers cut.
Yeah, the first Suicide Squad
You
cut.
you don't get the Ayers cut where he's a fan, right? You need to get these James Gunn, these people that are big fans of these characters, and let them do their damn job that you hired them to do, and make these characters how they should be.
Yeah, I mean the the first Suicide Squad cut was like so disappointing because like all of the pieces were there except for that fandom.
Exactly.
Right? You had Will Smith, you had Margot Robbie, you had Jared Leto. I mean, damn, you had
even more. I mean, you had Jai Courtney. You had, all these big people. Viola Davis. I mean,
Viola Davis. Yeah,
fuck,
and of course, I'm glad they kept her on.
Yeah, she's a great Amanda Waller, and she's still going in the series. But it's just, you had all these characters, and you allowed executives to come in and say, "Well, hold on, that Guardians of the Galaxy movie is doing really well right now. Let's transform this team movie into that team movie." And when you watch those first cuts of the trailer, it's completely different feel and tone.
Oh yeah.
I was super excited, and when I went and saw the movie, I was like, it was good, but that's not what I was expecting, right? And then they came out with the extended cut where they're like, "Hey, we added more Joker." I'm like, "Yeah, right, let's go." And they did, but they didn't add any more to the story of what it was. They just added more scenes. It was literally just a collection of scenes that looked cool, and it connected them versus creating the story.
But there's no but there's no framework around that, right?
That's why there's that campaign to bring, and I don't think it's going to now with this merger, but it would have had to happen before. But David Ayer's version, he turned in a completed cut of the movie.
Yeah.
That everyone wants to see because it was literally what we were told we were going to get without the execs jumping into it. So just hire fans and of this stuff and let them do their job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the executives are not the creative talents behind these movies. It's your writers, it's your directors. The executives, they just tell you where to put the money.
Yeah, here's your check.
Where the money goes, right?
Yeah, here's your allowance. And they thought that they were going to make more money by changing it up, and no, they ended up destroying and causing big effects for the Snyderverse stuff all the way through.
Yeah.
So all right,
which is exactly why they're trying to get that, why they're trying to get Dan Lin or somebody in there to helm that ship, to captain that, so that they do have a good continuous line where all the ducks are in a row, right? Like you're building backstories and all this stuff, and then you're also like looking at where those are going to pay off later, 5, 7, 10 years down the line.
Exactly. They're going to
development.
They're going to draw out a timeline. And they're going to say, okay, what are our main characters? Who's our big tent poles? Let's put them here, here, here. Who's our next B team? There. Now let's create a story that connects and draw this timeline, and then start building out that board. Start filling it in. Are you going to do shows? Are you going to
let the writers do their job?
Yeah. Are you going to do tie-in TV shows like Marvel's doing? Are we going to create streaming movies? Are we going to, what are we creating? And make this list and then present it to the writers and say, let's begin. You know, let's create this timeline of 50.
Let's create this. Well, it's not just create this timeline, but let's create this world. It's world building.
Exactly.
Right.
For the next, here's our next 15 years, 10 years of DC. This is what we're gonna make. This is, you know, let's create this and let's start writing it. You know,
this is the world we're gonna present.
what are we gonna lead to? Are we gonna follow the Thanos thing where we're gonna have all these movies connecting to make a big bad, right? Or is it gonna be
one big event? Yeah.
Yeah, is it gonna be a Doomsday? Are we gonna get the Death Nut, you know, Dark Knight, the metal? Are we gonna get, you know, where are we gonna go with this? You know, is it Dark Side again? Are we gonna try to go that route? Are we gonna go Brainiac? I mean, any of these things, you know, we need to have a plan and a goal, and we need to see it from near the beginning. I mean, hell, we saw Thanos all the way back at the original Avengers movie in that end credit scene. So, was it Avengers or was it Captain America with the Tesseract? I don't remember which one it was. Where he was floating in the chair.
I think it was Avengers though.
Well, because it could have been Thor or Guardians of the Galaxy or one of those two, because it had Ronan there. So.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Well,
I don't remember which one it was.
I mean, Ronan was talking to Thanos, but I think Thanos had already been teased before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, so
So I think it had already been established that Thanos was going to be like the big bad earlier on.
Yeah,
with that.
And so I think that, like,
I don't remember which one it was, but yeah.
In this phase of Marvel, you know, everyone's been waiting. So after Thanos, which was the end of Phase 2. Then we had Phase 3, which is all this, like, you know, BS filler stuff. You know, where's the next big bad? You know, I was hoping for, like, a Galactus or something. You know, start bringing the Herald, bring in Silver Surfer, and start having, you know, Adam Warlock and all these guys start building up to a big event again for the Marvel stuff, so...
Okay, yeah, his first appearance was in the Avengers.
Okay, so that was the end, where he was floating in the chair.
The Avengers end credit scene was when they revealed Thanos.
Okay. You know, and when was that? I mean, because the Avengers movie...
2012.
Yeah, the Avengers movie was pretty early on.
Yeah.
I think we had only had, Hulk, Iron Man...
Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America...
And did we have Thor yet? We had his first movie, right?
Don't remember.
I don't know if we had the first.
I don't remember if Thor's first movie had come out before Avengers or after.
It might have come out after, because isn't that the one where, like, Hulk punched him? He's like tiny god or whatever, puny god, and he punches him.
Puny god.
And then we get the Thor movie or something like that. So yeah, it's... I don't know. We'll see. I know that the She-Hulk show, episode 2, shows Banner on a ship going back to the planet from Thor Ragnarok. So,
okay. So they're kind of they're setting it right there.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start getting, you know, Guardians 3. You know, we're going to have Adam Warlock. So I'm wondering where we're going to go. Who's going to be the next big bag? 'Cause we're also going to have Nova is coming.
Well, I think I think we were talking about this. I think it was going to be the Beyonder. I think they were going towards...
Oh, that's right. Like a King.
Secret Wars.
Yeah. You got King the Conqueror and the Beyonder and all that. That's right.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is I really hope that they incorporate Doctor Doom properly.
See, so that's what I was saying. I think like a Galactus or have mid villains, right, leading up to your main boss. So you'll have your Doctor Doom. You could have Galactus be all of that, bringing in the Fantastic Four, which you can also bring in, X-Men and stuff at that time, because they've all fought Galactus together.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, this next plan, the next couple of years, we're going to start getting X-Men, right? The rights are all coming off of the Fox X-Men. That's what we're waiting for, right? They have to wait for those rights to go away and all the contracts that they had with those actors because those contracts are still in force. So they can't create new ones until those are done, which I believe is 2024.
Okay.
Something like that, or the end 2023, 2024. So that's why we haven't seen X-Men, is because of this contract. So, or their contracts. So once that's done, they can start introducing mutants more accurately. And I think that's why we're getting Deadpool, right? Because he's a mutant. He's in the X-Men.
Yeah.
We're getting more in along the lines with the Miss Marvel and all these other things, that we're going to start seeing more of these characters. So I'm excited. I just want to see where we're going. You know, how cool would it be to have like a Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or something coming in, and with Magneto and all these guys being the some of the bad guys.
Hell yeah.
That would be legit. All right. Moving on real quick. I've got did you see Sony is increasing the cost of the PlayStation 5? In all territories except for the US. This is kind of a blow, and fans are not happy right now about that. They're doing it because inflation. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're telling me that a company that posted like a positive like $6 billion in profit is worried about the inflation on a system that they can't even produce enough to put in stores. So they're going to raise the prices on it. I tell you what, Microsoft and Sony took a chance to fire some shots over the bow on that one and be like, yeah, we're not changing prices. We don't believe in that.
Bet.
As a matter of fact, just wait till Christmas time, because you may see a reduction.
Damn, that's wild, dude.
Yeah. They claim that it's based on the failing economies of other countries and the dollar, and due to inflation, they're having to increase the costs around the globe for a system that they're probably already taking a hit on. Like, we already know systems don't make money, at least not for the first 10 years, right?
Yeah.
I think Microsoft may be making money on theirs, but that's because they bought the exclusive rights to the chip manufacturers and all this stuff. Like, it's just crazy to see this, right? God, dude.
Not a good look for them. I mean, because they're talking about failing economies in these countries, and then they want to hike up the prices. Like, nobody's going to be able to. If the inflation is so high in these markets, then nobody's going to be able to afford to buy your console. If you hike that price up, like, come on, man, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly. I mean,
when it comes down to it, and when they have like these crazy price increases on groceries as opposed to entertainment, what's going to win out? People got to eat.
And groceries are already getting ridiculous.
And people got to put gas in their car so they can go to work. All this stuff. So you don't help yourself by pricing yourself out of their market.
That's what happened to the Xbox One when it first came out, and PlayStation annihilated them. Remember? And in the last generation with 360 and PS3, 360 came out at PS3 came out at like $6.99 or $7.99, and Xbox came out at $4.99 and obliterated Sony.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that we see a price decrease on Nintendo and Microsoft soon because of this.
Yeah, I mean, because price is everything when it comes to.
Well, I mean, in a Series S, it's still only $299.
Yeah.
Right? I mean.
Yeah.
Dude, Sony, what the hell?
I don't know, man. Like, They may be trying to do the Apple thing where it's like if you have a Sony PS5 that you paid, $700, $800 for, that it's a status symbol now instead of just a console. But
Dude, did you see that tick?
it's this boutique brand now or something like Louis Vuitton.
Well,
Like
Sony's
I
always
paid $5,000 for a purse.
well, Sony's always thought of themselves that way. It's when we'd get those like holy weeks where the people would come up from Mexico and San Antonio, right, and they come buy stuff. It was Bose, Sony,
Yeah.
Nike. Like that was it.
Yeah.
They came for
They
those
know the
brands.
brand. Yeah.
Sony's always seen themselves that way. We've seen it in their TVs. Their TVs have always been just a little bit more expensive, for usually for less features, which is the same as like with iPhones, right? You're buying the label and the There's a really funny
logo.
TikTok that I watched last night that the guy was taking the new Google phone versus the iPhone, and he's like, well, my phone has the most powerful camera on the planet, on cell phones. And he's like, but mine has an Apple logo on the back. And then the guy was like, but mine can charge in an hour. He's like, no, you don't understand. Mine has an Apple logo that everyone can see on the back. And like
on the back.
and like everything that they said was like, right, because Apple's not innovators anymore. They take what people have already had out. I mean, look at like the wireless charging, right? That was out for years until they could bring it in because they were trying to figure out a way to make it their own and to where no one else could use it. It fit.
Yeah. They wanted to make it proprietary.
That's what they do is they make everything as proprietary as they can. Hell, even the photos, when you take photos on them now, the reason they don't look good when you send a photo from an Apple to an Android is because it's in their own format now, right? So that's just what they do, and Sony's trying to do the same. They want that name. They want to be known as this is a Sony PlayStation system. You have a premium gaming, and while Microsoft is saying we may not even make systems, the next generation may just be a tiny little box.
PS5, you're still going to be playing Xbox games.
Yeah, I mean,
on a PS5.
I wouldn't doubt that in the next 5 years they come out with an Xbox that's like a Fire Stick.
Yeah,
just something you pop in,
you just plug into your TV, and then you just have your little controller there.
Yep, that's it. I mean, it's already coming built into Samsung TVs. I mean, there's you just use that little thumb drive to boost your bandwidth or whatever on it to make it just a little bit more stable like that. I would not doubt that they're working on it's Microsoft. Of course they're working on that right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's smart to do that. I mean, it's what Amazon did, right? Amazon's like, packaged these Amazon TVs and all that with their Fire Stick just built into the TV.
Yep.
You have other...
Yeah, Roku's done it.
Roku's done it. Yep, they got the Roku TVs and all that. So, yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time.
Exactly. Speaking of Amazon, did you see them rumors that they're going to acquire EA?
No.
You know how big that fucking is? EA is like one of the largest publishers.
Huge, yeah.
That
would be insane.
The rumors are flying right now that they're going to put in an offer to pick up EA. And if they pick up EA, I mean, we're talking, what is that, Battlefield? That's DICE. That's all of their brands, right?
Yeah.
Ubisoft. No, Ubisoft's their own. I don't think they publish through EA. But
no, I don't think they do.
EA is like one of the largest out there, if not the largest. And I mean, they make all the sports games. Everything is EA. So where are they going to go with that? Are they going to try to bring the Stadia, right? Because Stadia has just been down tanking. They're trying to just give Stadia away to people right now.
Yeah.
But you may
apparently an Amazon spokesperson said that they're not going to comment on rumors or speculation. And an EA spokesperson declined to comment. So right now it looks like those are just rumors.
Yeah.
About a bid on EA.
Unless it's closed door negotiation stuff. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the latest thing that I have seen is from Friday, and it says that they're not expected to make a bid for EA. So who knows?
Yeah, because I know EA said that they would sell if somebody put in a bid for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I'm sure EA is probably talking to a lot of acquisition companies. So
Yeah,
you know.
they should
So,
talk to the Embracer Group. Embracer Group just picked up
right? Yeah, the Embracer Group. Yeah,
the Lord of the Rings, and they also picked up the Western Square Enix, which
yeah,
came with Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, right? So that means they own the Legacy of Kain series, Soul Reaver, the F1 Sporting, which is huge, right? They own the F1 license now.
yeah,
What was the other big one? Tomb Raider, right? The new Tomb Raider games are all
Yeah.
Crystal Dynamics. So talented teams. You know, Embracer picked them up as well. They're like, we're dropping $2 billion on Tolkien. Let's throw a couple $100 million over this way.
yeah. When? We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, official spokespeople for both EA and Amazon have not confirmed any of these rumors yet. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that they want to make sure that, you know. Let's wait for them.
They might be talking to each other, but you know, who knows what comes out.
Well,
of
and they
those.
may be watching this Microsoft one go through, right? Because that's a large, you know, and almost all the countries have so far have given the green light to go ahead and do it. So I think they're going to get the green light. Even, you know, with Sony throwing complaints all over the place.
Yeah.
Um,
Word. Well, we'll see what develops from that.
yeah. All right. I've got like 5 more. What you got?
All right. Well, just go ahead and shoot.
All right. Season 2 of Battlefield 2042 drops on the 30th, like in 2 days. It's supposed to come out with new guns. They're bringing back the M16 from Battlefield 3, the M16A3, which I'm excited for. That was like my favorite gun there. They're bringing back, there's new maps, new updated maps, new guns, new handguns, new grenades, and they're working on bringing back the class system, which I'm super excited for because
Okay. Nice.
right now in Battlefield you can be a medic with like the healing syringe and carry rocket launchers. Like everyone can carry rockets, which they do, which sucks when you're in a vehicle. Because all of a sudden it's just like looks like missile command, dude. Everything's just flying at you. So that drops August 30th. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is getting a video game that was announced at Gamescom. It's
Nice.
It's going to be like a 3 versus 4 survival game where they're hunting you. Oh, dude, have you watched or looked at, we talked about before, the High on Life game from Justin Roiland? Rick and Morty?
Like I remember seeing that trailer for it, and you're talking about the guns that talk to you and all that shit.
So they dropped the Gamescom trailer, and he picks up a knife. He's like, yeah, let's go. I just want to fucking stab people. Just
I've seen that
fucking
one,
put me in them. Like he's just like cussing and dropping the F-bomb and going, and he's like, I don't know if I can kill a kid. He's like, don't worry, he's only 30. Let's get him. Oh, dude, it's gonna be so good. That comes out in December. Let's see. Matt Shankman dropped out. He's the guy that was gonna direct Star Trek 4. Remember when Paramount came out and they're like, "Hey, we're making a new Star Trek."
Yeah, I'd heard about him leaving.
Yeah. So, do you know where he's going?
No.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
He got the call to go get that Disney money.
Hope they do it right this time.
Right. This is like the 4th time, right? There's the old like 90s, I think, movie, and then you had the one with Chris Evans.
I think it was like the made-for-TV one or whatever.
Yeah, and then you had like the Chris Evans one and Michael Chiklis. Yeah. They had 2 of those, and then you had the other one with Michael B. Jordan and Kate Mara, and
which had like a lot of potential, but execution just was.
I thought that movie was good, and then it felt like they rushed the ending and just completely like They spent the whole movie
I don't know.
setting this stuff up, and I'm like, all right, this looks cool, and then gone. I'm like,
I thought
oh,
I thought they just squandered all that potential.
yeah, they could have. That's another one though, where the director got into a fight with the studio because the studio's who recut that movie.
Yeah.
They cut it up again. Executives, fuck off. Let the fans make their shit.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Super Superhero beat out Idris Elba's new movie in the theaters.
Oh damn.
Yeah, he had that movie called Beast, which was with the tiger. Yeah, or lion. Yeah, Super made a total of 54 million worldwide.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. Keep going.
It's respectable numbers, yeah.
For a Dragon Ball movie, yeah. I mean, that's
For an anime movie.
yeah, exactly. At least here in the U.S. In Japan, they make hundreds of millions.
Oh yeah.
Dragon Ball doesn't, but like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer and obviously all the Studio Ghibli movies, those are all pieces of art. So, Twisted Metal has wrapped filming for their Peacock TV show, expected to come out late next year.
Yeah, we talked about that on a previous podcast too.
Yeah,
about Twisted Metal.
The first season of the reboot or continuation of Futurama has dropped the episode list.
Nice.
Dude, some of these episodes. So you've got, I'm going to read them off. You've got The Impossible Stream, Rage Against the Vaccine, Zap Gets Canceled, right? We can already see, right? He's going to get canceled the way he acts.
Zap Brannigan.
The Prince
For wearing no pants.
Yeah, The Prince and the Product, Related to Items You Viewed, Children of a Lesser Bog, How the West Was 1010001. I Know What You Did Last Christmas, Parasite.
doing a Christmas episode. Nice.
Oh yeah. Well, and remember, Santa's always on like a killing spree during Christmas, so
yeah, Robot Santa.
Yeah. Parasites Regained, and All the Way Down. So some of those episodes sound awesome, like Rage Against the Vaccine.
Yeah.
And Matt Groening, even with Simpsons, but more Futurama, well, actually in his Disenchanted show, are very smart shows.
It was all right. Disenchanted was okay. I watched a couple episodes of it. It was all right.
So it's in 3 or 4 parts, and the first part is okay. Near the end of the first part, you start seeing the actual picture of where it's going, and then it gets good. Yeah. It gets real good. The first, like, I'd say 5, 6 episodes, you're like, it doesn't connect real good. It wasn't very good, but it does get way better further on, and it gets smart. Futurama to me though is like the best of, like, I love The Simpsons, but Futurama is like is a smart show.
Yeah.
Like the science that's in it,
I love Futurama.
The just everything that they talk about in that show has a double or extra meaning to other stuff.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, The Simpsons made it so that Matt Groening could make Futurama, right? Like, he walked with The Simpsons so he could run with Futurama. It's a lot like Family Guy and American Dad. I actually enjoy American Dad a lot more.
Oh yeah,
and seems like American Dad holds up a lot more today than Family Guy does, really.
Yeah, Family Guy to me was, I got annoyed all the time with all the flashbacks and cutscenes they kept doing with it. Right, it would just be, he's like, oh damn, I stubbed my toe. There's a can, and then we get a flashback of like some version of Peter with a can or something and stubbing his toe, and then the show's funny.
Even Family Guy even like ripped on that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny. I still watch it all the time, but American Dad I think is a much smarter show when it comes to the comedy of that. And then, God,
and I haven't seen Orville yet, but like that seems pretty funny. Like it seems like it's a pretty good show. From what I've heard about Orville, I heard it's pretty good.
The new You haven't watched any of it? You didn't watch the other first 2 seasons?
No.
Dude, you're a Star Trek fan, bro.
I haven't watched any of it.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, dude, you need to watch that show. The first 2 seasons, and then I haven't watched the new one. I don't know if it's out yet or it's about to come out on Hulu. Dude, the Orville is freaking great. It's a mix of what's his name? Seth MacFarlane? Not Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane, right?
Oh, yes.
Seth MacFarlane and Star Trek, dude. It's so good. And it's crazy because all I can picture is like Brian, the dog, talking when he talks. But like, it's got drama, it's got comedy, it's got action. Like, it's just cool, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard great stuff about it. It's just one of those ones that's like I hadn't gotten to because I've been watching other shit.
Oh man, they make fun of like red shirts, from Star Trek.
Yeah, your Star Trek tropes.
Yeah, they make fun of all that stuff. And he's like, I don't know if you want to wear that color shirt if we're going down to this planet. Like, he'll say shit like that. It's good, dude. So yeah, I'm excited for this this Futurama reboot. It's gonna be awesome. Let's see, what do we got? And then
those episodes. Some of those episodes do sound pretty.
How the West was 1010001. I've got 2 more, and then that's it.
All right.
Did you watch the new Game of Thrones yet?
No. Don't have the HBO Max anymore. So I think password got changed or something.
It did. Okay.
I don't have access to it.
Yeah, I'll update you. The House of the Dragon was good. It takes place. Now I don't remember. Like 180 years before or something like that.
Yeah.
It takes place before the Mad King. The story of this is how the Targaryens used to control King's Landing and Westeros, and how they essentially end up to the point
they created that dynasty, and then they end up to.
This is the height of their power, and then we're going to get to the War of the Dragons, which is mentioned in Game of Thrones.
And you see the fall of the Targaryens.
And it goes all the way down to the Mad King, where the Kingslayer comes in, kills him, right? And then that's how Baratheon...
Jaime Lannister.
Yeah, and then Baratheon takes over, and we end up with Viserys and Daenerys, the last 2 Targaryen. Well, last 2, right? We still got Jon Snow.
Right, yeah. You got Jon Snow.
And possibly Tyrion. So, because
right.
Tyrion's mom was like in love with one of the Targaryens before, and they think that that's why he doesn't have like the golden hair and stuff. They think that he's.
I didn't know that.
It's from the books, not from the show.
More of a book things, which I haven't read the books.
I'm
yet.
redoing the books now.
A lot of density in those books.
Jesus Christ!
I'm still.
It's like reading Xenocide again.
And I'm still reading the that one sci-fi series. The post-human sci-fi series. I'm still reading the last book in that.
Yeah, I've been doing the audiobook of the first Game of Thrones, and what's cool is they mention some of the people that's in this House of the Dragon show. Because they talk about the history of them going back and learning the history of old kings and great knights and stuff, and they talk about Hightower and all these people that are in this show. So
nice.
It was good. It was really good. I mean, it looked great. We're gonna see a time jump. Matt Smith is in it, so he does a much better job than he does in Morpheus, so that's good. I don't know if you saw Morpheus, but he has
still haven't seen.
He has a dance scene that's very similar to Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I mean, I really only know him from because I really only know him from being like one of the doctors on Doctor Who.
Yeah, he's been in a whole bunch of stuff, but he's been in a lot of stuff, but this is probably going to go down. Like, his doctor was really famous and popular, But
Yeah.
I have a feeling that this is going to go down as one of his top roles because,
That's good.
He plays the king's brother. So it's going to be a pretty impactful role. I mean, it's a main role, and it's Game of Thrones. So
Yeah.
yeah, real
Cool.
real good. And then the last thing is that last night I watched Amazon Prime's Samaritan with we watched the trailer a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yes, Stallone.
Yeah. It was a good movie. A lot of problems with it though. The movie had no substance to it. It literally was Stallone playing Stallone, and when he was playing like the superhero type character, I mean there was no depth to the story. There was no explanation of them, like besides for like a 2-minute animated thing at the beginning that just mentioned the two brothers, how there was Nemesis and Samaritan, and then they grew to hate each other, and then they were warring, and then they both died. Like that's literally how
That shit's been. Yeah, I mean that shit's been like played to death though.
Oh, there was nothing original about this story. It was literally a Cain and Abel type thing. But
Yeah.
it had a predictable twist. It had a predictable ending. The story had nothing original. Honestly, I think Amazon should have just spent a little bit more money and split this into 2 parts to give us more history of these back characters. So,
Yeah.
when you get the twist at the end, there's no explanation to it, right? And or even the like, why were the brothers fighting? How did they get their powers? There is nothing about any of that in this. It's literally just an old washed up superhero that gets found out and dragged into a gang battle that's in love with his brother that was the bad guy, and they are starting riots, and it was so cookie cutter and bad. Like it was a cool movie. It was perfect for streaming because the CG was bad. There's like supposed to be like cars on fire and stuff down the streets, and you can tell the CG was like not as good because the fire was like
all flat.
Yeah, it was flat. It had no depth to it. Like it just it had issues, and I really think they should have paid a little bit more money, split it up into 2. So you have the beginning that shows like.
I mean, they spent all their money on getting Stallone in it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, because you have this like it was just there's parts like they just escaped this like burning fire, and like explosions and all this stuff, and then like right there, standing there in the fire, the kid's like, "So are you happy now? What happened? What are we doing?" And they both smile, and then move on to the next thing. And I'm like, that was completely out of place. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, just all these things, like, where the kid's getting his ass kicked, by these, like, 4 gangbangers that are just beating the shit out of him. And then, Sly comes over and he throws the guys and grabs a knife by the hand and bends it, and the kid's like, Samaritan.
Yeah, and the kid discovers that he's the superhero or whatever, his idol.
Yeah, and, it just... You have, like, a cool, like... scene to that, but it just the lead up to it, like you can see that it was like staged, like not staged, like obviously it's a movie, but like they didn't do a good job of blending these scenes together. It was just cut weird, and like I said, they should have made it into 2 parts, where the first part is you introduce the kid finding out who Samaritan was in the backstory, and then start introducing the bad part, and then just done a part 2 where the part 2 is the struggle of him having to come back to help when he doesn't want to. He just wants to be left alone, right?
Yeah, he just wants to be like regular, just old
because
guy.
It doesn't explain shit. It shows him fixing these old things. He doesn't explain why. He's like besides for one line where he's like, I think old things have a second chance. It's like, okay, well, this kid is literally telling you, you're old, you need to have a second chance.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
right? It doesn't.
It just sets up his comeback.
You know when.
That's all.
Yeah,
It's just kind of one of those throwaway things where it's like, oh, this is the point of the movie.
yeah, like it. He gets when he gets hurt too bad. Like there's a part where he gets hit by a car and like his arms like bent in like 5 different like spots and shit and all this other stuff. And you know when he comes back and heals, it's like Attack on Titan. He starts steaming because he's healing and he's like, I have to cool down. So he goes and he gets in the shower and floods the whole apartment with steam. And you open up his fridge and it's actually a giant freezer and it's just full of nothing but like product placement for Eddie's Rocky Road ice cream because it's literally the whole thing is Eddie's Rocky Road ice cream. Yeah, and so he's like sitting there eating the tub, and he's like, "Go ahead, kid, get some ice cream." You know, and the kid's like, "Okay." Like,
what is
like after
like how much did Eddie's Rocky Road pay you guys?
yeah, but like even that was like out of context because he's like, when I get hurt, my body temperature rises, and if I don't get it cooled down, my heart's gonna explode. And they don't explain any of that. Like they don't explain like any of that of why, how did you get to be this way? And you know, and then he's going and he's like yelling at the kid, and then like in the middle of yelling at the kid, he's like, "Go ahead and get some ice cream," you know, and then the kid's like, "Okay," and he goes and he gets the ice cream, and then the kid's like, "So."
Hey kid, I'm just trying to live my life. Get some ice cream.
Yeah, and exactly. He's like, I just want to be left alone. He's like, what happened between you and Nemesis? And he like punches a fucking like toaster and smashes it, and he's like, get out. And the kid's like, okay. After he like just grabbed the ice cream.
Grab a tub of ice cream.
It's just like little snaps like that where he's like, they're talking happy, and he's like, ah. So dude,
it's not. Yeah, just so bad editing, bad CGI. Just
they're hoping people are gonna come see it because it's Sylvester Stallone in a superhero movie, and they really fucked it up.
But it's like, come on, man, you can do better than that. You can do better than that.
They could have world built this to make other spin-offs and other things.
Yeah,
because the world that they're in, right? They're in a city. I don't even know what city it was because I don't even think they really mentioned it, but it was like
hey, it's Metropolis in New York or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like a Detroit,
Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was some like slum area of like a Detroit or some northeastern city, Philly.
Yeah,
you know, probably Philly if it's Sly. So
another movie trope. Right?
Yeah, and so they're in the like underbelly, and there's people are on unrest. There's no money. Like this the mom's like late for paying her rent, so they tape up her door and put a notice of eviction. And the lady's like, you do this every month. You know I get paid on the 5th and rent's due on the 1st. And he's like, I'm not a charity. And the kid walks up and hands the mom like $105 that he just got for robbing a fucking place. And the mom doesn't even ask, like, where'd you get the money? Like, at the beginning of the movie, she was like stealing his piggy bank change for bus fare to go work this nurse job. And he walks up with like $120 cash, and he's like, you didn't even ask me where the money was from. Like, where do you think it came from? You live in the ghetto.
Yeah, you look at the city that's around you.
Yeah, I mean, it just, dude, they should have made it in 2 parts and world built this much bigger to where they could have expanded and had an entire other boys or other universe that they created.
Yeah,
and they didn't. They probably blew 80% of their budget on Sly.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's a shame.
Amazon, do better. You have The Boys, goddammit.
Yep.
And Invincible. I mean, and Lord of the Rings. Like, you've got all this shit, and you do this? Like, this should have been way better. Yeah. So anyway, that was the last thing I had. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is Saints Row new video game came out like a week ago, and I didn't even know that it had been
That's out already?
Yeah, it's already out.
Oh shit, I didn't know either. I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Oh, really dude, I love the Saints Row games, man.
Hell yeah.
They hold their own against Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, they were badass games. But yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. Well, Saints Row, you need to advertise. Amazon,
come on, Volition.
shame on you.
Come on, Volition.
No kidding, dude.
Shame on Volition and Amazon.
Volition
they're
makes-
they're this week's dumbasses.
Dumbass of the week goes too. Volition, man, they make good shit too.
Yeah.
Do I have anything else?
All right. Well, that about wraps it up then.
I got nothing. I'm looking around. I got nothing. So.
All right. Well, this has been Pop Culture Kick.
Yep.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Whale's vagina. I'm Nick Zilla.
What is the most unattractive male first name
I'm Mark
in
Becker.
the English language?
Later.
What you just said, Keith, is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Most of all, fuck you!
That's all, folks.